jam.
And when you're sitting there, like you're gonna spend the whole.
Yeah, this is why.
This is why I'm Ethan.
That's what Greaves did.
Yeah.
That's why we need a horseshoe kind of shape.
You can do a mirror, so like angled, so I can look at you and look into the mirror.
That's just creepy. Why would we do a mirror?
So
but then I'm looking at the back of it. I guess I could probably.
No,
look
you look into the mirror and look at me.
Getting a mirror. Welcome back, everybody, to the Chip Lunch Podcast. It is very exciting to have you back with us, and it's exciting for us to have a guest by the name of Daniel.
Daniel Collins Starvell.
Oh, you gave us the full name. Very
Just
cool.
Gonna straight up dox myself. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. Whoever's in America right now, it's me.
All out. We got 25 downloads in America. As of today's
25?
check. Yeah.
Really?
This one person has a lot of friends.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. You don't know if they've downloaded your episode yet, because we're recording it.
That's a good point.
Thank you for downloading my episode when you haven't done it already.
Can we just make this the most downloaded one? Like 75.
75.
75.
I love it like 75, guys.
That's the number.
That's a win.
I'm going to need to make a lot of alt accounts,
but only,
aren't I? Darn it. I just step work for myself.
We're just showing clips of Daniel in his room, just like with 4 screens,
Yeah,
just like watching.
I would go down to Riley because he's got like 7 screens set up.
Has he?
He showed us on youth.
Yeah, Riley is one of the youth leaders and he is a legend, but he is, yes. He's I had a whole Zoom conversation with this man whose webcam had fallen off his computer and it was just like portrait on the table and he was upside down and he didn't care.
Oh.
We were all looking at him upside down and he was just working. Just like a wild individual.
Okay.
But anyway, that's Riley. We're not talking about Riley today.
Yes.
We're talking about our guest Daniel. So I'm Ethan, that's Joel.
Yes, you are Ethan. I haven't introduced you,
hello.
sorry. I'm Joel, by the
He's
way.
feeling a little bit left out.
Hey. I'm not feeling left out.
No,
Well,
I
you
was
were.
feeling
Oh,
it, 'cause
okay.
I didn't get introduced.
Okay. Very cool. Daniel, the first question that we asked before we open this secret package in front of us is, how do you like to have your chips? Wow, that was really bad. How do you take your chips?
So I like my chips with as much chicken salt
Oh.
as possible.
Yes. Okay.
And
So,
whoa,
no. What's next? What are you adding?
zero sauce.
Zero sauce.
I
Okay.
hate tomato sauce, and barbecue sauce does not go
Wow.
with chips.
Oh, there you go.
Wow. I listened
Odd.
to Greaves's episode the
Yes.
other day, and he talked about the chip and gravy roll at Wollongong,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the best way to have chips. Like chip,
It's cheaper too.
yeah, it's like $4 for like stupid amount of chips.
It was so odd that it's cheaper.
It's
for
so
more,
good.
for more produce.
It's amazing. But yeah, so that is I've changed my mind. But excessive amounts of chicken salt is good. I like that. Do we want to open the package in front of us and I'll
Sure. I
add-
wonder
add
what
a
it
few
could be,
details.
guys. Yes, sure. I'll start opening. You add the details
go
while
for
I
it.
open it.
So what happened today was like, well, let's spice up the desk a little and actually finally make right on our promises and actually get some chips on the Chip Lunch podcast.
You just spoiled it before it
Well,
was
well,
open.
here we
Well,
go.
they can, I
Ready?
think
You never-
people know. They are.
It's chips. Who would have guessed?
Stunning. Now, I put heaps of chicken salt on it because I just wanted to see what Joel's face looked like when he ate chicken salt.
Did
look,
you
I
just wait for the right time where he had just put it in?
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Look, I don't hate chicken salt. We can't, it's just not the winning combination, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
These are cold.
I'm sorry. Took too
Drive
long to start.
faster.
I don't think it's faster. I think it's the unknown restaurant that you got it from.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Could be. I'm eating a lot of them at the moment.
And they're delicious.
Chicken salt, good? Nay?
There's not much on there. I think that's why I don't mind it.
There's a bunch on my side.
Oh, wait till
You
you get to the
judge.
bottom.
You judge.
That is the thing of chicken salt.
Have one and see if you think it's too
I
much.
can see. There's just
Make
a
a
mountain.
decision.
There's a mountain on that chip. That's too much.
Too much chicken salt. You just said you like heaps of chicken salt.
How do you rate it?
This is like MasterChef.
It's expecting the dramatic music. Thank you, Dave.
I give it a 3. I give it a 3.
Out of what?
Out of 3?
Out of 10.
Out of 10.
Out of 10.
Why?
That is one of the worst chips I've ever
It was
tasted.
a little cold, but it had crunch. I heard the crunch. I could feel the crunch.
Yeah, but it was all crunch, no potato.
Oh well, that's because you've got a dodgy chip.
Anyway,
I could do this all day.
Same.
I don't think we're trying to try not to eat into our listeners' ears. Daniel, the question that we asked everyone that comes on this podcast is, how did you become a Christian?
How did I become a Christian? Well, if you're an avid listener to the podcast, you might know Braden's story of how he became a Christian. Mine's similar. It also happened at an ecclesia. And so we were at an ecclesia one night.
Oh, which for those who are not avid listeners, sadly, is a band night that we do at Solis. But yes,
Yes, it is a band night.
sorry for interrupting.
All good, all good. It's a band night that we have at Solis, and I was in maybe year 7 or 6, one of the two.
You would have been in year 7 by then, I reckon.
Oh yeah, because it's
Because
alpha.
you're in high school. Yeah.
Alpha,
Yeah.
which is 7 to 8, just the one above. Yeah, so I was in year 7, and we were in this room. I know it looks small to you guys, but it's like at least double this.
More than that.
No. It's at least double this. So it could be more.
Yeah.
You don't know.
You don't know.
But it could. It's at least minimum. So we're in this room, and there's a stage in this room.
Set the scene,
Who would've
Daniel.
known? There was a
beautiful.
stage. There was barriers on either side to stop people from escaping. No, because we have a mosh pit at Ecclesia because it's band night, and so we need to try to
It's just
contain
it's
it.
just a strat to kind of bring, because the room is so big. We could bring we'll put some little walls up, and it brings the
double
room
this.
in a little bit, and it makes the dancing more cozy. Because there's nothing worse than being at a dance party and everyone's standing on the far walls.
People don't want to dance.
People don't want to dance, and it's heaps harder when the far walls are really far away. So if you put the far walls close together, you can peer pressure people into dancing easier. Yep.
Peer pressure is not a good thing, but
Unless it's about dancing.
and Jesus.
It's true, but the only reason
Jesus,
people
true.
don't dance is because they're too worried about what other people think of you.
Mm-hmm.
So if everyone's into it, everyone's going to be dancing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If I didn't like my dancing, I just wouldn't care. But anyway.
How did you become a Christian, Daniel?
Talking about Ecclesia, so we're in this, and there was a band folk who was on the talk. His name is Daniel, commonly known as Dan by the community. He doesn't go to this church anymore.
He used to be
sadly.
a student pastor here at Soul Revival Church and has moved on to Reesby, I think. Or it's around that area. Anyway.
I just knew he moved. Yeah, so he was on the talk, and he said he finished his talk, and he asked everyone to close their eyes, and he said to everyone, if you're not a Christian or not sure if you are a Christian, you can raise your hand if you would like to. And he asked, if you're not a Christian and you're not sure and you would like to become a Christian, please raise your hand. So at this time, I had always grown up in
You grew up in a Christian family, right?
a Christian family. And I've been Christian my whole life, according to everyone. So here I was like, I'm a Christian, but am I a Christian?
Okay.
I am not too sure. So that followed one of the criterias. So I put up my hand. I was like, I'm not too sure. I hope I'm a Christian. I want to be a Christian. So I put up my hand. And he prayed for everyone with their hand up. I didn't know Who else put their hand up?
Because we all had our eyes closed, which was really cool. Only I don't think even Dan could see. Oh no, but Dan could see because he had to talk to people afterwards. Only Dan could see.
But I do pray that those people who had their hands up as well got to find God as I did. And so, as Ethan said, Dan prayed, and after it, he came and talked to everyone who put up their hand, and he came, had a chat with me, and he really changed my view and made me really want to be a Christian on my own.
If you said that he changed your view, what view was he changing?
The view that I
Were already a Christian?
That I'm a Christian because of my family.
Oh, okay, cool. That's a cool, like, kind of thought to have. That, like, stop eating, Ethan.
Sorry, I got a particularly crunchy one.
Was that feeling about, like, oh, I'm a Christian because of my family, was that yourself feeling like that? Or you said before that everyone thought I was a Christian, but I wasn't sure if I was. Which one was it?
I would say it's a bit of a mix between both, because I had never said I was a Christian to myself at that point. Everyone's said, "Oh, you go to church, you're a Christian." I was like, "Okay, I'm a Christian, I guess." And people say, "Oh, do you believe in anything?" I'm like, "Yeah, Christianity, I'm a Christian." So I've told them that, but that night I decided to tell myself.
So taking personal responsibility for your faith.
Mm.
That's really cool, man. Did you what changed from that point? You're in year 7. Do you think there's something changed from that point?
From that point, I think I became more confident with saying I'm a Christian.
Okay.
I've never not felt confident, but I feel like then I grew to a different level.
Level up.
Yeah. So people would ask me, "Oh, are you a Christian?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a Christian."
And it's a different kind of yeah. Like it's a yeah, I'm a Christian because you're like there's a difference between, oh, you go to church, you're a Christian, and the question of, are you a Christian? Like the different interaction there is really important, because you're being able to actually say yes, that's who I am. Like, I'm a Christian. That's a really beautiful, really cool thing to get to that point.
Yeah.
So Daniel, what year are you in now?
I'm in year 10.
And what age are you?
I'm 15.
15. Okay. So if you became, as you're saying, you became a Christian in year 7, how has that changed you growing up in high school? Because that's something we talk about a lot in this podcast, is like, you became a Christian reasonably early. I didn't become a Christian until I was in year 10, for example. So becoming a Christian in year 7 is a little bit earlier than me, not as early as Ethan. So we all have our own journey with God, but what does that mean for you now in the next few years of high school? Like, how did you see things be different, or were they the same?
Well, I think it would be a lot different, because from my view, I would say through high school to university and that, from what I've seen and heard from people sometimes just completely change themselves. And me stating and standing on the fact that I am a Christian, I feel like I'm more prone to just keep my ways and keep who I am true, because there's a lot of people that change themselves and then realize that
Just adjusting the microphone. There you go. I don't know what you're doing, Ethan.
He was doing this.
Oh, yeah.
I was just.
You just got to keep the microphone in front so you can. Yeah, you can move it
direct it
any way you
towards
want.
the
That's it.
microphone.
Yeah. That's probably not ideal.
So a lot of people change their.
Look at you. Like
I'll put it back. A lot of people change the way that they are, and then decide, that's not who I am. That's a mean version of myself. I'm rude to people. I'm not actually caring about myself. But I feel like if I was going to change myself and then just change back in a couple of years, what's the point?
Right. So you're saying that if you've taken this turning point of becoming a Christian, that's a genuine change in your entire life, but you don't want to make sure that that doesn't happen and like you flip back kind of thing. Is that what you mean?
I feel like if I don't pronounce myself as a Christian, then I'll end down that rabbit hole of just trying to find out who I am. And I feel like finding that I am a Christian this young, I won't ruin years trying to chase something that I'm not.
Is that something you're scared of? That sounds like something you're scared of.
I feel like, because I don't want to waste time when I can be teaching other people. Because I really...
Jesus, you mean?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I really love hanging out with people and then them asking me questions and me getting to answer them.
Really? That's cool. That's cool for someone of your age to have like that maturity. What you got an example of us like that kind of question you've been asked? Because I'm guessing at school you're in a mainly non-Christian context there.
Oh yeah, there was.
Give us some of the curly ones you caught.
Apologetics with Daniel.
We can answer the questions here. Let's do it.
I've talked about this in front of the whole church before.
Yeah.
But I won't say that story because I don't like to repeat stories.
Okay.
Unlike my father, who repeats. No offense, Dad.
That's amazing.
Your dad, who is one of the wardens of Soul Revival Church.
Which I hope to be, and we'll get on to that.
Oh, dear.
We'll aims in life.
We'll actually get on that point later because I want to actually talk about that.
Let's go back to the curly questions, but
some questions I've gotten is that God's not real. First of all, 100%.
That's a statement. But is they say, is God real? Or they just say, no, they just say to you, God's not real, so don't talk to me about it.
They say, God's not real. And I just take that as a question. So I answer their question saying, like, why do you think that?
Okay.
What makes you think that God's not real? And they're like, death. Death is still a thing. And I said, yes, death is a thing. But that doesn't mean that God's not real.
These people are geniuses, aren't they?
I know.
I love high school.
A lot of kids
to be alive.
thinking that they know everything. But
play that conversation out more for us. So, like they'd say, well, death is still around. What do you usually say?
I say yes. Of course, death is still around. You need to die to go to heaven. Do you not know your basics? This time, I'm not the nicest kid. This would be year 8. I haven't gotten that question in a while.
Okay.
Because with the confidence, a lot of people just don't bother because they know.
They just know.
They just know. But it doesn't stop people from asking tougher questions.
Because often those questions come out of like,
questioning identity.
I can trip you up,
Yeah.
or I can like make you not think the way you think. And when you're like you're saying, when you're confident about it, and you're just like, well, like, it doesn't really matter what you say. And like having responses is helpful, I guess. But that underlying confidence is almost the most important.
I
it's
completely
like
agree.
Like I don't necessarily have all the answers, but I know that Jesus saved me, and like there's nothing they can do about that when you're in that case. And it's really cool that you've gotten to a point where you're just like, well, come at me.
And I think that confidence that you're talking about, there, Daniel, I was about to call you Adam, your dad's name, Daniel, is I think that confidence actually causes people to question their own confidence. And what do I think about being a Christian? So then they'll come at you with hard questions, but it's coming out of a place of like their lack of confidence, you know? So that's why I'm really encouraged by you saying that. What's some other questions they give you instead of like, oh, God, death exists, which isn't even a question.
And you can share the one that you share, because there's heaps of people in America.
In America, they're trying to listen to us.
Americans haven't heard it.
I need to first of all try to remember what it was. We were playing handball. I know that fact, as you do.
Handball for American listeners is not the European handball. It's a game you play with a tennis ball and play different squares.
I think they call it Foursquare.
Oh, Foursquare.
Yeah.
Okay, not the app.
Yeah.
There's an app?
Yeah, there's an app called I love it how you're like, there's an app? I can play handball on it?
Is it like that
Play handball, play
Facebook thing?
phone.
No, it was like that's what it was like. Foursquare was a thing like around when Facebook, I'm probably going to get my timings wrong, but it was like one where you checked in, you're like, I'm at this place, I'm at this place, I'm at this place. It was what it was called.
Ooh, that does not seem like a good app to have.
Early days of apps. Early days of the internet and apps.
No restrictions.
Yeah, that's right.
You're
playing handball.
Yeah, playing a handball. This chick who's been my mate for about a year this time. She asked if she could have a chat with me. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So I stepped out of line, which is a dangerous play because you lose your spot.
Yes.
Which was a dangerous play, but I was like, why not? So she asked me a question. I'm still trying to remember this question. It was like, I think it was something about heaven. Maybe. I may be getting this time mixed up with another time, but she was asking about heaven and why I think that's the way to get there. And I was like, well, God's the way to get there. Jesus is the way to get to God, which is who is in heaven.
Yep.
And she was an atheist, so she didn't believe in the whole God and heaven and that. I think she was more Satanism, but anyway.
Satanism, satanic.
Which was so weird because she would just drop that bomb at random times.
Right.
Just to try to make me go, cool. But yeah, so she asked me that. And I was like, yeah, Jesus. Jesus is how you get to heaven. She's like, well, how do you believe something that you can't see? And I'm like, well, there's a lot of things that you can't see, but you believed. Like
Satan.
Like Satan. Satan is definitely
like Satan.
It's true, right?
She doesn't believe in Satanism.
Oh, you were just calling her a Satanist.
No. I was saying she wants to learn more about that fact.
Oh,
she's an atheist,
but she's she's going that way instead of
I see. Okay.
She's a little weird, but there's some of those out there that ask questions like that.
Yep.
So I just blatantly asked that. I answered that, and I think she just got flustered. She was like, why are you attacking me? I'm like, I'm not attacking you. You came to me and I answered your question.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, but you're just saying it in that tone. I was like, what? Just trying to make you believe the truth? And she was like, no, you're saying it in a tone that I'm dumb. And I was like, no, I just want you to learn.
When you say I just want you to learn, I wonder why she's like a little bit upset at your tone.
I just want people to learn.
Okay. So we talk a lot on this podcast about how we reflect on our lives back when we were Christians in high school, and that sometimes we wish we were more into our confidence in holding on to Jesus than not. Is there a chance that you might be letting the confidence in Jesus overrun a little bit too much there?
I think I have too much confidence and not enough knowledge, because at this time I'm still learning. I don't know the Bible front to back.
Well, I think I think God's word is so deep that I don't think we ever finish learning before we die. So that's okay, but that's a pretty humble thing to say too. Also, I don't know everything. So, what do you have certain strategies that help you start knowing more things?
I pay attention a lot more than I used to. So I would always, my main goal would just be to hang out with my friend.
You mean at church or at youth?
At church, and youth. Both times when it's very important to listen, which I didn't normally do. I was a bit of a rascal when I was a little kid.
I think rascal is a bit of an understatement, isn't it?
I'm trying to keep it a little bit of an understatement when I'm talking about myself here. Yeah.
There's so much I could say.
Yeah, I was myself. I was not paying attention at all. So I was like, how can I pay attention more? So I joined, well, I didn't join. I think Mum got asked if I wanted to do Fuse.
Which is our year 5 and 6 group at Solis.
Yeah.
Which, just as a little side note, to get a bit of context for Daniel's earlier statements, that year 5 and 6 group, Fuse, to this day has never made sushi since Daniel and his friends were there.
No, it was just me. It was just me.
Because of the amount of mess they made. It was
Really?
Yeah, I think I was getting rice out of the carpet and the couch and the everywhere for like, I reckon, a year later.
I made a rice ball.
Through it.
That was a little bit, I think it was the size of a softball.
It was awesome.
I didn't throw it. I threw it, and then I made it again and put it into the freezer. No, freezer or fridge, one of the two. I don't know. I didn't know the difference at that time, and I forgot it, so I left it in the fridge, and
Amazing.
it's yet to ever.
It was
find
probably
its
thrown
way
out.
It was
But that's
definitely
okay.
thrown out.
But yeah, sorry, that was just a little context. Before I've forgotten what you had said previously.
That Daniel's a rapscallion.
Yes. Oh, and you were saying that you were asked to lead at Fuse.
Yes.
And that's been a key part of you learning to learn.
Well,
Learning to learn.
both learning about God and learning how to teach people about God. So I have to lead people who are a lot younger than me, who are learning what I already know. But they're kind of a lot like people in high school. A lot of them don't know as much as these kids do. So I was like, so if I can teach them, then I could teach my fellow youth.
You mean you pointed that out before, is that you want to teach other people now? Now that you've become a Christian, you've grown up and you're in year 10, you want to teach other people now. Is that one of the main reasons you wanted to do Fuse and lead those young crew?
Yes, I was at that time. I really wanted to become a pastor.
Okay.
And I still pastor's one of the top 3 for me. So
what's the
what's
other two?
the top
okay, so number 1 is product designer.
Okay.
So I want to design products and
For
produce
anyone in particular or just products?
whatever.
stuff. Yeah,
like
cool.
if someone wants a chair,
Sure.
I can make a chair.
Nice.
Then engineer, which
Okay.
stems off of
Okay.
product designer.
Very cool.
And then pastor.
Sure.
I've had a word with your father about that
Oh,
too. He also really wants me to become a pastor. If you know Stu, sorry American viewers, but he is very enthusiastic when it comes to people
Well,
teaching.
American viewers, you can meet Stu and jump over to the Shock Absorber podcast. Hit that up.
True.
He's there every week.
Edit that in, please, producer Dave.
Ding. Good set.
I got you.
Yeah. So I talked to him a bunch of different random times. So I talked to him one-on-one in just church, and then one time talked to him about it at Burrell Pines, which is like a week away, where
a couple of people from church go away down the coast and
Camping.
camp together over just after Christmas. It's a good hang.
Burrell Panay.
Baril Pinay.
Burrell Panay.
Correct pronunciation.
Yeah, so I had a chat with him whilst we were camping.
Mm-hmm.
And just different times where I've been like, I really want to do this. But there's also the struggles where I've heard a lot of stories of some people who don't treat pastors with the most
It's not necessarily the easiest job in the world, which is fair enough.
I give so much props to Stu after a lot of the stories that I've heard.
Well.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, but there are other times where I've like, oh, this is so cool. This is really cool because Stu, being a pastor, he knows so many people.
That's true.
He knows an insane amount of people. I think it goes Stu, Lou, because
Stu is Lou's husband. Lou is
What?
Stu's wife.
Yeah. And
nearly
your
said
parents.
And they're my parents, yes.
just
And they're his godparents.
Oh,
yeah, they
very
are.
cool.
Yeah.
God brother.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going through that. Yeah, so I think from my structure of people who know the most would have to go Stu and Lou, then you and Elijah.
I do not know as many people, but yeah,
Yeah.
they know things.
And then I think it might go my parents.
Why is that important to know lots of people?
To know people.
Know people. Know
Well,
many individuals.
Yes.
I've
Networking.
heard a lot of
They
people.
get them young now in high school. They go, networking's really important.
It is actually.
Yeah,
It's
it
so
is.
important.
I've gotten
But I didn't get taught that till uni, and by then I didn't care.
I've gotten a lot of people who have talked to me and said, "Oh, if you want to make it, you need to know so many people."
So you know.
And I'm
So
like,
you've got a LinkedIn account?
no.
Yeah,
Your dad
follow
does,
Daniel
but I
on
know
LinkedIn.
Dad does.
Yeah, but I just want to know so many people because there's so many stories that people can tell you and you can tell them, and some of the stories can be people's struggles with Christianity and people's strength, which helps you get stronger, and you can share them, which may help them either become a Christian or get stronger in their faith. Faith.
There you go.
Real insightful, bro.
Yeah.
Including the
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, really cool.
I was just thinking about your friend that you were talking about, who was asking you the question about how you can believe something that you can't see. But that's exactly what faith is. It's like belief in something you can't see.
That's what it's all about.
So yeah, that's really cool. And I think what you're saying there is a real cool expression of your faith, too. Are there any, in particular, Bible verses that you like to think about, or you've memorized recently, or over time?
Well, there is one that I've memorized recently, but it's not very useful.
Okay, throw that one out.
It's 2 Kings 2:23 to 25, I think.
That's super random. I have no idea what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
What is it?
Oh, it's the verse where a guy walks into a town and a group of kids.
This sounds like a joke.
And a group of kids walk out.
Oh, is this?
And they
This is.
and they make fun of him,
Yeah,
and
this
then
is
he
Elisha.
summons a curse on them, and 2 bears come out and kill 47 of them.
She bears come in and maul some peeps.
Yeah.
So what have you got out of that particular verse?
Well, I as I said, I haven't gotten anything out of it. It's just one that I've learned recently for no reason. But
What is it? 2 Kings.
2 Kings 2.
2 Kings 2.
22
Okay.
to 25, verse 23 to 25. Anyway, but John 3:16, I
Yep.
think is a big one.
Yep.
And I have a really bad memory where I would go sit through a full talk and I would be like, that is an amazing verse. That's my favorite verse. I would decide not to write it down. This is where writing down comes very important.
Writing down is very important.
Very important.
Yeah.
Where I would just forget it. And then the next year, this happens a lot in camps because camps kind of do the same thing. So I would go next year and I'd be like, this is an amazing verse. How have I never heard this? Then that night I would be like, oh.
What was that
Yeah.
again?
It's gone.
Last year. Last year, remember that. Next day, not at all.
Yeah.
All right, here's 2 Kings 2:23 to chapter 25. That's what it is. From there, Elisha went up to Bethel. As he was walking along the road, some boys came out of the town and jeered at him. "Get out of here, Baldy," they said. "Get out of here, Baldy." He turned around, looked at them, and called down a curse on them in the name of the Lord. Then 2 bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of the boys. And he went on to Mount Carmel, and from there returned to Samaria.
And he just kept going.
Just dropped the mic.
I read a chapter in a book about this, and unfortunately, I am like Daniel in that my memory is dreadful. But there's lots of excellent meaning that can be drawn from this. Off the top of my head, I won't be able to find that.
I feel like you need a little bit more context earlier in 2 Kings at least. But
and about like why they're calling him Baldy and all sorts of other things.
I think it's just a very funny and random,
really
random verse.
It is very
Because
funny.
I noted this in Courtney and James's Bible. So they had a Bible at their wedding,
True.
and they were like, "Write down your favorite verse." And I was like, I searched it up on my phone, and I was like, "This is
That one.
hilarious.
this is the one to put in.
That's the one I'm highlighting, so that when they look at all their wedding guests' favorite Bible verses, this is the one they'll see.
Well, I went up to James and I was like, "You better find my verse." And he said, "I will make sure to find your verse."
Perfect. I love that. Very, very cool. So, Daniel, you're in high school at the moment, and that's really exciting. And you have some very cool future plans, which are very exciting. That's lots of fun to think about. Something that you have, and you're something that we call a light leader here at Sorrel Church, which is a leader without being a full leader yet because you're still at school. And so in that capacity, thank you, that's the word I was looking for. In that capacity, how do you feel being a leader at church? Like what's that doing for you?
Well, in that sense, I'm a little weird. I really like it, and I want to do so much more.
Why is that weird?
That's not weird. That's super cool.
It's different to the point of view of 2 of my friends, who I'm not going to name, but you definitely know them. We started Fuse, and he decided to stop doing it because it was stressful, and I was like, I get it. I kind of like was like, come on, you got to do it. But I realized, nah, it's fine. You choose to do what you want. I can see how it might be a little tough. And then the other one, he still does Fuse, but I pray for him a lot because he may not. I worry about him a lot because he goes to youth and he skips a couple times. I'm like, come on, man, youth's on. Come on, join the Discord. And he's like, I will, I swear. But he doesn't. And I can see how he can get annoyed by me going, dude, join it. Yeah. But it's just I really love him, and I really want him to do it. But yeah, so he finds it hard, so he takes breaks a lot, and the other guy found it really hard. But I'm on the other spectrum where I want to do so much more, and this is where where becoming the warden comes into play.
Okay, let's unpack this. All right, so Joel, to the best of your knowledge, what does a church warden do?
That you'd have to be Daniel's dad.
That's the first step.
Adam has been a warden for quite a long time, hasn't he? He's done a lot of things. So the wardens, in our church in particular, they are the kind of governance and executive / administration side of our church that make sure that we're abiding by all laws and doing all that kind of stuff, all the important governance stuff that still needs to happen. In the Anglican church, you still have to have an AGM and do all that kind of thing too. So there's a lot of governance is the right word. And your father, Adam, our pastor's warden, I believe.
Mm.
So our pastors get to choose a warden to help them out, and then we also elect 2 other wardens. And so that team, they help us make really big decisions as a church. So financially, when we've had to stop things due to COVID, all those kind of things. So they help us make that. Is that, you feel like there's a power in that role? Is that why you like that?
Not at all. Not at all. So what I know from what my dad does is he talks to Stu a lot about a lot of stuff. And I'm like, if I don't become a pastor and I want to be still like somewhat up to that level.
Just hanging out.
Just be like, yo, I'm here. Everyone knows me.
That's one way of looking at it.
Yeah, but yeah, and my dad, he's always been really well known in the church, where I think you would know this a lot, but where he would just introduce me to people who knew me from when I was a kid, but I had no clue who they were.
Let's talk to that for a second. So some of us, I don't know about if you've ever had this, Joel, but in not coming from a Christian family, I can imagine that it's slightly different. But my parents, as was previously established, know a lot of people, and a lot of people thus I've been introduced to many a person who've gone, oh, I knew you when you were this big. And that's a really weird thing to experience. So it's really hard for someone to be like, yes. Like, I'm like, yeah, cool, that's great information. But what do we do about that now? Like, what, like do I know, what's your name? Like, and that's, it's not a bad thing. It's actually a really lovely thing to have been a part of a community for a really long time, to the point where people know you and you don't know them. But being a part of that community for such a long time, Daniel, what's it like to be still in that, still kind of growing up surrounded by people that A, may have known you for a long time, or B, maybe coming in and out? Does my question make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. What do you reckon?
I reckon it's amazing because I get to meet new people basically every week. And I get to meet people who I've already met when I was this big. But I didn't know them. So I get to basically re-know them.
Yeah.
Which is super cool because I love talking to people, and especially adults.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know why I said adults.
No,
that.
it's no. the scary older people. Yeah, no, but why do you reckon talking to adults is cool?
I don't know.
Adults.
Whenever I was at a party or whatever, I would rarely hang out with the kids, and I would just hang out with the adults who were somewhat supervising and being like, bro, these conversations are through the roof. They're so insightful. And I get to learn so much. And I joke around with them and they joke around with me, and I just get to learn such cool people. I think that's why I don't get invited to parties as much, because I don't really hang out with the kids.
Do you just go and hang out with the mum and dad?
I used to a little too
Just
much.
jump to your mum.
Hello, Mr. Hey, Dad. How you doing?
Yeah.
I've never called them dad.
I was going to say, is it okay if I call you dad?
So the community is great because I get to know so many people. But it's also a little saddening because I get to know a lot of people who leave as well. And I'm like, but I looked up to you. I thought you were so strong in your faith, but everyone falls out.
That can happen sometimes.
Well, not everyone.
No, yeah.
Most people.
Yeah, no, I don't even, some people can, and it's a bummer.
Oh, not most.
I get what you mean.
Is that because you look up to them as Christians and you respect how they are as Christians, and then when they perhaps fall away or don't keep coming to church, you're like, hey, I looked up to you in terms of, like, as a model to being a Christian person? Is that why you get upset?
I get not really upset, more confused.
Okay.
Because I'm like, well, if you're skipping, can I just not come? And then my parents make me come. And there was a time where I didn't want to come to church. I will admit where I really, really did not want to come to church, and I just wanted to stay home, do my own thing. But now I'm the complete opposite. I love church so much. It's just the community shows me a lot of strength, and
gives you a lot of strength. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it gives me a lot of strength, and also shows where some people's commitment just shows no bound, and just they come consistently, and then just a year later, I would find out that they were going through such a hard time, and it's just, you're crazy. Why did you come? That would have been so stressful for you, but they just persevered.
Is that something you're comparing to the other kind of spheres in your life that you're in? So like at school or whether you play sport or whatever, are you saying that if those people you knew outside of church were experiencing like pretty difficult circumstances or suffering, that they would respond in a different way to the people at church?
Oh, 100%. There's a school, I know so many people who just can't take anything, and they just, I feel really bad and I really want to help them out. But they, instead of coming to a community, they do the complete opposite, and they just stay as far away.
Like isolate themselves kind of thing? Yeah. Talk to me more about that, because I think we've worked out that I'm almost 20 years older than you, right? So tell me about what it's like at school now. And just tell us your experience. You don't need to compare it to anything else. But if you're saying that people at your school can't take anything anymore, what does that mean?
A lot of people are very, very, I don't know the word, but they're, I would say a little weak. No offense, not in a mean way, but they
maybe lacking resilience?
Sure, we can put it there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they can't take a lot. They are very to themselves and don't really share that much. Where I have been told that I share a little too much. Yeah,
there's a balance there somewhere.
I'm definitely over that balance. But in that, I don't understand how people can shy away from people. So I've never understood that. But people just, as soon as something bad happens, just don't show up to school, and I would be like, oh, they must be sick. That's just the default.
Yeah.
It's either you must be sick, or there's a test on that day. It's either
a dog in school.
You're sick, or it's just a mass test, and there's no in between or over. There's no, oh, that guy's really hurt. He's really sad. So in doing that, no one knows what to do. They're just like, cool. They just still act the same. They still pick on them because everyone picks on everyone still.
Yeah.
So they still pick on him, where it would be a little better if they were just a little nicer some days, because we all have a day where we just need it, peace and calm.
That's a really cool observation that I don't think I've actually thought about the reason we go to stuff and the reason we commit to stuff. And like you go to school because you have to go to school. Like that's at base level. It's like, well, I got to go here because that's my job as a teenager or as a whatever. And that gets to a point where people decide, I just don't want to, and I won't, right? And that's fair enough. But it's almost easier to not want to go to school because you have to, or because there's heaps of bullying and there's heaps of all that stuff, and that's awful because it's not necessarily actually a great space. But one of the reasons people get so excited about one of the really beautiful things about church as a community for teenagers in particular, not just youth group. Like I'm talking actually going to church, and like Daniel, you're talking about actually hanging out with people older than you and being in community with people is a really important part of growing up and living life in a really real way, because you can go, okay, this thing that I have to go to every day sucks. I don't want to go to it. But actually getting to that, again, we're coming back to that confidence thing, being confident enough that not only that your faith is legit, but that your faith means that I have a space where people will love me. I'm confident in that love. That's a really cool thing, I think, that I think we're missing a little bit in our community, where we don't always have a space to go just to know that we're loved in that space. And that's for a lot of people. For some people, that's home, and for a lot of people, that's school, and for some people, that's work. And I think it's really cool that people can have church to go and go, yeah, no, I know I'm loved. I think that's really special. And I just had that mind thought while you were talking. I was like, oh, that's a really cool little example of that.
I think also what I'm seeing from you, Daniel, is like you're compassionate about other people. And I wonder if you're talking about people not knowing how to deal with other people at school having a tough day or whatever, is that showing compassion to people is another way of showing them Christ's love. And that's what I'm really stoked on hearing you about it, because especially in a male group, that compassion isn't really allowed to exist sometimes because of being picking on people or paying them out. And again, I always think about, I wish that I had more confidence. The confidence that you have, and for example, Ethan had when he was at high school, to know that I was loved. And we talk about being in a space that we're loved, but knowing that we are always loved by God.
So important.
It does transform you. That's what it says. It transforms us and renews our mind. And that's what you're doing when you're going to school, is that and being compassionate and hopefully being compassionate when people ask you questions about it too. And I think that's really cool. The other thing I wanted to ask is, what do people at your age find difficult? So you said something bad's happened to them, so they stay home from school. Because I would love to compare if something's bad in my age group when I was at school, right, compared to, things are very different for even your generation now compared to mine. I think one of the big things is the internet. I think the internet was only just like, I would look up football scores on the internet. You know what I mean? Like there's that and kind of message boards and that kind of thing. But for you, for you and your age group, it's very different. So I feel like that might be one thing, but I'd love to hear what you think people find difficult at your age.
I would say the number one thing that people would find difficult would be doing something for a long time, for an extended period of time.
What does that mean?
Well, the internet, you get basically everything
you
like
want.
that.
Yep.
And it doesn't make people stop and go through something.
I love this.
Slowly and carefully.
Because it's so instantaneous. So if I can't get something when I want it, they're not willing to put in the effort to get it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Give us an example of that, what that would be.
Well, a lot of people who, I would say sport is another thing that people do. So say you did, I don't know, soccer, but you weren't seeing immediate results. You weren't seeing, the next day, whoa, I can run a kilometer whilst dribbling a ball. Then they just give up and go, no, that's not the sport. Let's find another one. Another one that I'm just inherently good at. But I don't think anyone can really be inherently good at anything.
No, because stuff takes practice. Like that's just how it works.
Yeah. So is that something that, so people at school think they should be good at soccer without practicing?
Well, soccer is just a term for a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, tell me what a lot of the things are. It just has to be the terms, like.
Maths. Maths is a really big thing in school. A lot of people don't put time into it, so they don't get good marks and go, maths is stupid if you.
That was me.
Well, I'm kind of the same, but there was a point where I was really into maths, and I did maths for a while, and I was good at it, and I did maths, I was good at it, so people were like, "Hi, you're good at maths. Good job. Good on you." And I was like, "Okay, I don't want to do maths anymore." So I stopped doing maths, and I wasn't as good. But
Because you didn't like people encouraging you about it?
no, I liked it, but I didn't like maths anymore. So
Okay.
I stopped it. But then as I stopped it, I got worse. And when I get worse, I was like, I'm not getting the results. So what I do, I just don't spend time on it. So I got worse. I'm still okay at maths because the time when I was into it was the basics. But I'm not getting any better. If anything, I'm getting a little worse.
So what you're saying is that the internet often teaches your generation that everything is instantaneous. The instantaneous nature of the internet teaches you that you should just be able to have everything because information is just at your fingertips. So you like, I can Google anything I want, really. What else is there that you think your generation is struggling with?
Well, I would kind of split my generation in half.
Okay.
So I would say my side is a little in between. So before my generation, people kind of grew up with video games and that. And in that sense, parents kind of knew this isn't that good. This is going to be addictive. So yada, yada, let's try to not do that. Go outside, play.
Put limits on it.
Yeah. But then my friend has a younger sister, like 2 or something, and she came to our soccer games, but she would just play on her father's phone. As the technology got better, people got more addictive.
And they get better at making the apps or whatever more addictive too, right?
Yeah, making it more, this thing's cool, we're going to change it in like 10 seconds. So it's a new thing, more addictive, and it just keeps on drawing you in.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think my half is a little bit better at controlling it than younger kids.
Well, okay.
There's a lot of videos of a lot of younger kids who throw really big tantrums over when, like, the internet. I mean, I know a lot of people who have done that, but not to the extent of some videos that I've seen. And so it's really hard to stay focused when you get everything instantly.
That's a really cool point. So you get the young people who have grown up with devices are finding it hard to concentrate on things that actually matter, or that matter a lot, like in terms of getting better at something. So that kind of getting better at something is lost because the devices and the apps and the instantaneous nature of the internet have taught them that they don't need to do that, or made them think that they don't have to do that.
I would say it would make them think that they don't have to do practical stuff. So practical things that you need to learn. So online would probably teach you to do video games more than maths.
Or to code.
To code.
Yep.
Well, code's, I would say, one of the better things to learn.
But that's a thing you need to actually go.
Then
I'm
again,
going to learn this
it's a
thing.
craft.
Like that's just another thing.
Yeah, it's a craft.
Yeah.
Just like even maths is a craft.
Yeah.
Like if you don't work on your craft, it doesn't get better.
Fully.
Right. And the consistency thing is so interesting. Is that consistency thing that you're talking about, Daniel, applies across all of life. So it's not just whether you want to get better at video games, you have to practice it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Whether you want to get better at maths, you've got to practice it. You have to do the reps to actually get better at it. If you want to be a better Christian, and we've been right now we're doing a series in Hebrews where we're talking about moving from spiritual milk to spiritual meat. And you talked about, Daniel, earlier, like, I don't know that much about the Bible. Well, the only way you know more about the Bible is obviously reading the Bible over and over again, right? Yeah. But that's the beautiful thing about God's word, is it has so much depth to it. And I'm finding this lately doing Hebrews is like, man, I've got to get back into the Old Testament. I don't know enough about the Old Testament. So I find that the feedback that you're telling us is like really, really interesting, because we like to see this podcast as a way of understanding and hearing what young people have to say, but also then we can try and apply some biblical wisdom to that too, because that's how we try and operate in what we call an intergenerational model at our church, is that we can have people like Ethan's grandma, who's actually coming on next episode, guys, who is 80 plus.
I don't know.
It's got to be around 8. Let's say 80.
I don't think she is.
But then, well, she's got to be close.
We'll never know.
Jeez, I'm going to get in trouble for that.
You can't ask Bev.
She's between...
You're 20.
Yeah,
she's 25.
She's over 7. We'll say that.
Still putting a number. It's 20-something.
You're right.
20-something.
But then to have yourself on and to telling us this is what's happening, is like, we understand what's going in youth culture. And we've talked about this on the Shockabsorber podcast too, is that how you listen to younger Christians and how you approach youth ministry decides how your whole church operates. Yep. And that's why it's really cool to hear you telling us about this stuff, because we can go, oh, right, that's cool. Like, and we know what's coming. As you grow up, we know what's coming. And as you are saying, I want to meet more people to be able to tell them about Jesus, that encourages me heaps. So just to let you know that. So that's cool. Anything else that you think that is a really important thing for us to know about your generation?
I don't know.
It sounds like your generation spends a lot of time on devices.
Oh.
That affects their it's addictive. Like you're saying, it can affect their mental health a lot. How do you go with that?
How do I go with devices? Ooh. I would say it's always going to be addictive, no matter who uses it and how much they use it.
That's because the apps especially are designed to be addictive. Yeah,
they're designed to be just to drag you in. So I have been struggling with this recently. There is quite an old game going around 21 years ago being created called CSGO that I have recently gotten into, that in the past month I went from have played 25 hours in it over a year of downloading it, to now have played 130, 40 hours.
in what period of time?
A month.
That is a lot.
I think my longest game time on a game is, I've got 360 hours in Fire.
What game is that?
I've got 400 in Terraria. How? I'm just grinding for items that are really rare.
That's consistency, man.
That's consistency.
A couple of the
but
hours.
See, that's not even a game
offline.
you could grind at to get better. That's just like, well, it is. You can get better stuff, I guess. But
and then another one. COVID has really annoyed me, because the good thing about school is teachers teach me. I can't teach myself anything. I prefer someone who already knows it and who is like, oh yeah, do it this way is easier.
Change this, blah,
and
blah,
then
blah,
tells me it so I don't have to figure it out on myself.
Mm.
I found that hard in COVID, because they just give me a body of text to read. I can't read very well. And then do like 12 questions. I can't do that because I can't teach myself. I need someone to teach me. So I've just spent time on these games. And I would love to say that CSGO and Terraria were the only ones that I've played and grinded in this
fair enough.
In this time, but it's not. And it's because they're so addictive. I just can't get off it and do the things that I need to do.
I was going to ask a question. What's your daily average screen time?
Oh, phone is so good at the moment.
Oh, really?
Computer, haven't turned it off.
Oh, okay, fair. Daily average, I think I think I'm at 4 hours, which is up 13% from last week. 3 hours and 55 minutes.
3 hours and 46 minutes.
1 hour, 9 minutes.
Ooh, that is good. Well done.
I don't
Look
use
at you,
it.
digital native.
I really don't use it. And I haven't used it the past.
That disappoints
Because-
me, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah, right?
My-
Like it just
my
makes me
result
sad every
disappoints
time I look at it. I'm
That's
just
the thing.
like,
I've been
"Oh."
making an effort not to use my phone too much. And I think during...
Do you have the down button? Like it tells
Yeah,
whether you've
it's
gone up or
30%
down.
down from
Oh,
last
that's
week.
pretty good.
Because I do another thing. I don't have my phone in my room at
Oh,
night.
yep.
I just have an old school alarm clock.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a really cool thing is like when you are using your phone first thing in the morning, you're on other people's time and they're telling you what to do. I'll keep going with what you're saying and I'll find the real quote.
Okay.
So the reason why my screen time is so down is because I've been grinding.
Yeah, on
To-
your
to
computer.
I've been-
Yeah.
so-
I think one of the things with COVID is really hard because we're for those of us that are aware, like trying to be aware of stuff like screen time and trying to be aware of that stuff. There's not much else to do, right? And so it's easy just to go, well, okay, I'll just spend all my time on my computer or on my phone or whatever. I think that it's a really interesting conversation that we don't necessarily have to have now, but one that we can continually have over the course of Chip Lunch and over the course of some other things is really love to chat about what it means to be a Christian in the digital space. Because one of the problems with this is that we're in it now. Like there's
no getting away from it.
We can just turn it off, right? Like and lots of people are doing that and that's okay. But I think especially as we're trying to be in culture, but not be a part of culture, but not in culture. Is it the other way around? I don't know.
Be in the culture, but not of the culture.
That's it. Yep. Be in the culture, but not of the culture. Like how do we be in the culture, which is so exclusively online often? How can we do that, but be Christians in that and be really explicitly Christians in that and really confidently Christians in that? I think that's something I'd love to chat about in the future. Or do you have any thoughts on that?
One thought is some people's way to get out of the internet is to go to a community spot like a church. Wow. So
Great idea.
going from being a Christian online to going to a church has some downsides by you're not really going to be meeting as much non-Christians as you would if you went to school,
That's
work, university, daycare.
But what you're saying is church is important.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's important to, even though we're immersed in this online thing, you're right. It's good to get out of that and see people, and church is a great way to do that.
It's also a good way to be with people that are different or be in a situation that's different. Because when like anything online, most of the stuff, and you talk about the games that are addictive and stuff, they are made to make money. So the more addictive it is, the more money that game makes. Same with Facebook and other social media. The more they can keep you on it, the more they can get more data on you, the more they can make
why they're
ads.
addictive.
Exactly right. That's why they make them addictive, because they can make their money from that. But I think some of the stuff you brought up, Daniel, has been really cool. I actually have that full quote for you.
Yeah, hit us.
And we can probably finish up on this.
Yeah, let's do that.
If you start your day with social media, the news or email, realize this: you're starting your day at the mercy of others. Social media is others telling you what to think. The news is others telling you what to read or watch. Your inbox is telling you what to do. And I just think that what I tried to do now, and I don't always do it, but I always try to start my day with the Bible. And that's like, if I'm going to have anyone telling me what to do, it might be good to tell the God of the universe, to listen to the God of the universe before anything else. So that's how I try to think about it. I still am failing to do that at the moment. My daughter's not sleeping very well, so I'm like, I'm not getting up at 6 o'clock like I want to, but to do that kind of thing. But I think taking encouragement from what you're saying, how we could work against that addictiveness and that we have to be in that culture, but not of it, is let's start our day with the Bible. And it's a suggestion. Not everyone does it. I know that you tell me that you read the Bible later in the day, Heath, and that's fine. But I think that's a good way to start, rather than rolling over in bed and picking up your phone that's designed to make you addictive and people telling you what to do, which affects things like mental health and how you feel about yourself and all that kind of thing. So That's not a dig at you either, by the way, Daniel. It's cool that you've brought those things up, and I think that's something we need to keep talking about.
It's super important, and it's one of the reasons we wanted to get you on. It's just like, let's chat to, like, we spend all this time talking about high school.
Yeah.
Let's get someone who's actually in high school.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm the first. I'm the first teenager.
Just like actual teenager.
Still in high school.
I think I'm the first teenager that's been on any Soul Revival
podcast.
podcast and service.
Yeah,
Well, this isn't really a service, but
in that from as of Soul Revival Digital kicking off this COVID, yes, that is true.
I think so.
Yeah. Well done.
Well done.
thank you.
We're right on the path towards becoming a warden.
Well,
You'll
no,
slot
'cause
right
the
in.
warden has to be behind the scenes.
Oh, that's
So
true.
maybe if I just
Yeah.
Just go hang out
put
with
the mic.
go hang out with Dave.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap the chips up, as you like to say. We do have the chips, but we can't really wrap them. I threw the bag over there, but we didn't really eat them either. But Daniel, I'm about to thank you, and you've walked away.
He's wrapping the chips.
Here you go. He's going to wrap the chips up. But thank you so much, Daniel, for joining us. Really appreciate it. You've had one or two chips. That's good. Thank you, Ethan, for your time. Thank you, producer Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Behind the camera, on the cans. We appreciate you, guys. If you've got some spare time, which we were talking about, you have some spare time.
You do.
Maybe try and check out some of the other podcasts that we have on Soul Revival Church, which is our digital gatherings, and also the Shock Absorber podcast. Talks about how and why we do church the way we do.
With your screen time, you could also use that to move the mouse down and hit like and subscribe.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that would be excellent. And that was all I want. Oh, and there is a Discord.
Oh, there is a Discord in the link. Yes,
link
make sure you can get on that. We can start talking about how we can actually at least redeem some of the things that we see on the internet, and we can start talking about how to be Christians in this current culture.
How we can give Daniel some apologetics advice.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he seems to be experiencing a lot.
Good stuff.
But now it's time to wrap up the chips.
Wrap up the chips. Oh, very good work. And we'll finish with a one way.
Yeah.
One way.